First of all, Sapphire, I'm on with my co-host Sapphire Blue. I'm Chris Murray. You're listening to the Locker Room Readout. Now we left for the break. Here's the thing: when it comes down to the Celtics and it comes down to the Cavaliers, I like Cleveland,
But
but but you got to beat the world champions. I'm not saying Cleveland's incapable. I will not say that.
I just think, you know what? You would not be a good sports agent,
Huh?
right? Because I'm trying to get props for what has already been proven. Okay. This is the difference in our perspective. All I'm saying is this. You mentioned Porzingis. He's still out. He's not back. He's up, down, all around. The man has a viral issue, or maybe he's load managing, right? I'm just saying the Cavaliers are functioning like a well oiled machine. They're deep. They got shooters. Even the bigs can drop trifectas. Like they are the team to beat, right? And definitely in the Eastern Conference, right? Now my eyes are on SGA because he is like I think a once in a generational player. I mean, I
Well,
what
I
he
gotta say
does
this.
is yes, what he does is incredible. But I'm just saying, it just sounds like you have a little haterade and a little fear, okay, when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So,
No,
all right.
not at all. Not at all. And I'll tell you why. Because my thing at the end of the day, I think they're great. I think Cleveland's a great team, and I think they're capable of beating Boston. And I know, and they and but but what you have to do in this situation, you got to knock off the world champions. That's going to be their mission. Are they capable of doing it? Are they capable of beating Boston? Yes, I think they are. But you got I mean, the NBA champions. You got to knock them off, and and you got to beat them on the biggest stage in the world, or the next to the biggest stage outside the NBA finals.
Okay, I can respect that because at least you're being consistent. We talk about your similar approach on the Fear of the North. So I get that. And speaking of Fear of the North, let's transition over to some NFL, Chris. Listen, talk to me about Aaron Rodgers.
He should retire. He's done. He's absolutely done. He can't play anymore. He can be a potential. He's a potential cancer. He's done, and a potential cancer for this team. And
Which
no,
team? Which
he's
team?
not the
Which
player.
team, Chris?
He's
Which
not the
team?
MVP. Those skills are long gone.
But which team? Which team would he be in your mind a cancer?
Well, I'm going to say this. I think for Pittsburgh, I think in Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh, I think he's going to be a cancer.
Okay, so you're thinking he's going to Pittsburgh.
Right. If he goes there, if he goes to the Giants, if he goes to the Giants, right now it's a money grab and a paycheck. He wants that one last bag, and he wants the one last bag before he gets out of there.
I don't really think I mean, everybody wants the bag, whether they're young or old. I really, when I look at Aaron Rodgers, I just try to separate the off the gridiron stuff with what I feel he's capable of in the right system, Chris. And I don't think he had even an average system to work in when he was with the Jets. I don't. And of course, he was injured. When I think about him potentially joining the Steelers, that's a whole other ball game. And especially when you look at their free agent acquisitions, like that could really work. And I mean work well. So you talk a lot about how Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat. Like Aaron Rodgers, I think, is an instant upgrade in that system in Pittsburgh, which makes the bag important but not primary. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm gonna say this. Now, one thing in his favor in Pittsburgh is that he does have DK Metcalf, and and that's a good thing. But I don't know how much physically he has left in the tank. I just don't. But I do think, but he is on a decline.
But
He is
what
on a
does
decline in
what
his career.
Yeah, and let me ask you this though. How much he has in his tank? So he's got that Steelers offensive line, right? They've picked up some pretty good, a pretty good running back. Add DK Metcalf as the wide receiver. You still have Skowronek as your tight end, right? You still have Pickens, your wide receiver. Like, does he really need to be Superman, or does he just need to get the ball into the playmaker's hands?
Yeah, that's a start. But I'm wondering what's going to happen if things kind of go south. Is he going to throw everybody under the bus? But the thing is, I don't know how much. I don't think he has a whole lot left.
Okay.
I
I
don't
don't
think he has
see
much left.
that old saying, the inmates are running the asylum. I think that never applies to a Mike Tomlin run football team. I think in my imagination, even though I despise the Steelers because I'm a long-suffering Browns fan, I do have mad respect for Mike Tomlin. I cannot see that he's going to let any player get that far out of pocket where it's public. I just don't think he runs that type of operation.
Yeah. I still say that, I don't think the Steelers are going to be a contender even with Aaron Rodgers because I think that they'll be facing a Baltimore team that's determined to get to the Super Bowl and win it. And I think Cincinnati will be a little bit better. And I just think at the end of the day, um, I don't think, I mean, Pittsburgh, it'll be fascinating, but I think that Aaron Rodgers is done as a I mean, he'll probably be more of a game manager than anything else.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned Baltimore because we have to, touch on your Ravens. I did see they signed DeAndre Hopkins, albeit a 1 year. They signed DeAndre Hopkins and they re-signed Ricard and Stanley. What do you think that makes them look like for next season? Is it status quo? Is it an upgrade? What do you perceive them doing to really implement Hopkins into their offense?
I think they're going to get him into that offense because I think that the Ravens have so many weapons. I mean, they got Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews isn't going anywhere despite last year. I think and you know what? Another thing that no one talks about that hurt them in that Buffalo game was not having Zay Flowers in the on the field. So you got Zay Flowers who can take you deep. You got you got DeAndre Hopkins who can catch the mid range pass. He can go deep. He still has a lot left in the tank. But what I'm worried about with the Ravens is that they got to get an edge rusher, and we try and they have to get an edge rusher to rush the passer. They got to make some changes in the secondary, get another safety, maybe in the draft. But I do like the acquisition of DeAndre Hopkins because I think he's what I call that 5-tool receiver. He's that 5-tool receiver who can take you deep, who can go in the middle and catch the tough passes. He can catch the one-on-one balls and whatnot. I mean, he can block a little bit. I mean, he can do it all for this offense. And and I hope the Ravens will utilize him, get him involved, as the rest of, because they're going to confound a lot of defenses when you consider they got two great tight ends, Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews, and then you have Zay Flowers, who made his first Pro Bowl year, and Rashad Bateman is not bad either. Rashad Bateman is a good possession receiver, but I'm happy that they resigned Ricard, and I'm happy that they signed Ronnie Stanley. They re-signed Patrick Ricard and Ronnie Stanley. So I'm not too. They still got some. They got to add some people. They got to make some trades here and there for the defense. But I'm happy where the Ravens are right now. I really am. I'm really happy where the Ravens are.
That's interesting because as much as I am a fan of Lamar Jackson, I'm not certain that they really upgraded in terms of free agency, but I'm curious to know what Zay looks like. I think Mark Andrews is more suspect, with all due respect, right? Because he's not a spring chicken either, but we'll see how it goes. And I wanted to move over to the Cincinnati Bengals as well. Look, I think I'm ready to vote for Joe Burrow as a politician. He has done more politicking to keep his resources in place than I think the general manager has invested time in securing them for long-term deals. The non-exclusive franchise tag for T. Higgins. What is the issue? What is the issue with Cincinnati really cultivating, investing in the talent that they have, right? And keeping those weapons available and around Joe Burrow. What do you think about what Cincinnati has done in the free agency window?
Well, it's good that they kept their weapons. The problem is they need defense. That defense couldn't stop anybody. It couldn't stop me, you, or anybody else going up the middle on them. It couldn't stop anybody. They were probably their offense. I mean, Joe Burrow in 2 games against the Ravens probably was the one quarterback who probably outplayed Lamar Jackson in those games, and yet he was on the losing side. They couldn't beat anybody. And you remember the game against Washington where they couldn't stop Jay Daniels and whatnot. I mean, they went up and down the field. Everybody throughout that season went up and down the field on the Cincinnati Bengals. They need defense.
So I saw they acquired the inside linebacker Oren Burks. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was with the Eagles. But
yeah, he was with the Eagles, and he had a pretty good postseason. Right.
Yeah, and also TJ or Ted Durrell, if I'm saying that right, Slayton. It seems like they're trying to do a little bit more on the run defense, but it'll be interesting to see. I just really think that Joe Burrow is, again, another once in a generational player. If you just give him the players around him, they could go really far. But to your point, they definitely need to address their defensive issues. And then I wanted to slide over to my Browns. Let me just say, I want to thank the organization for giving me my early Christmas present and figuring it out with Myles Garrett. I can't complain about Kenny Pickett. I can't even complain about Kevin Stefanski today. That was the deal breaker for this season ticket holder. Your objective thoughts on what the Browns have done in the free agency window, Chris. What do you got?
Who's the quarterback? Kenny Pickett? Who's the starting quarterback? That's all I'm asking. Who is their starting quarterback?
Well, he did say that he was told.
Chris Murray, perhaps, if they pay any money. Me, my old buddy. You saw my passing performance at the Super Bowl. You saw. You saw. I couldn't throw a ball through a ring, and I don't know if Kenny Pickett can do that either. I mean, I think they're going to wait around to the NFL draft, and there's another famous Miami quarterback, because if you thought Bernie Kosar was great, wait till they get a load of Cam Ward.
I'm not certain. Honestly,
You
I
are
got
not
a
certain
weird
about
I got a
Cam
weird
Ford.
feeling. I got a weird feeling, and I hope I'm wrong. I have a weird feeling they may not be using that first round draft pick for a quarterback. Why am I feeling like that, Chris?
I don't know. Maybe it was because of the movie Draft Day, which centered around Cleveland. I don't know, but or maybe it's because Cleveland has had all this bad luck and all this. I mean, I think to me that's the logical choice. I know you didn't want Dorian Thompson. What's his face? Robinson. Do
Listen,
you want to bring Jameis Winston back?
I'm very concerned. I'm always concerned about DTR's mental health. 2 seasons ago, that Baltimore game, I'm very concerned. So I'm glad he has transitioned over to my second favorite team, the Eagles. Like, he needs some love. He needs to be shown that he's appreciated and he's got that talent. But back to the point with the Browns, I have no idea what that organization is even thinking. Very concerned about how they're going to use that first round pick.
Okay. Well, it looks like we have to go to break. We will be right back.